Hey guys, so this episode you're about to listen to is one I did with a good friend of mine named Darrion Nguyen, and I'm trying a new thing out where I get more guests on the podcast, and he's one of the first of the year, and I'm very excited to have him on. I'm hoping to get more like friends from high school that I haven't seen in a while, and I'm hoping to do more with the movie club episodes and things of that nature. So I'm very excited to get that ball rolling, and I hope you enjoy this episode with Darrion Nguyen, aka Lab Shenanigans, and his rise to stardom, as I like to say. He might not like that, but that's how I see it. So enjoy. Oh, okay. This is recording.
QR.
Here we go. Okay, everybody. Welcome back to the In My Head podcast. And today I'm very excited. I have a good old friend of mine. His name is Darrion Nguyen, also known as Lab Shenanigans. I thought for a second I thought he might be too big for me to reach out to,
Oh my
but
god.
I was like, you know what? Never mind. You gotta go for it. So he's here, and we're gonna talk about our high school days and his rise to scientific social media fame and drag race and a bunch of other things. So welcome, Darrion. Say something about yourself.
Hey, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Like, here's the thing. I will always have time for friends. Okay. So if
Yeah.
you're immediately he's so big. No, shut up. Like, I will make time for you. I'm glad that you reached out. The thing is, you just have to be patient with me because I'm bad at replying. And I feel like you already know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. We can all be glued to our phones watching Facebook Messenger.
And so I'm glad that you reached out and you did a really good job of like, all right, so are you feeling this?
I know. I try to like toe the line of like reminding people, but not being annoying about it. And I'm like,
No,
what are you?
I didn't see it that way at all. I was like, it was more like, oh, like I need to reply back because I never replied. But I'm glad you did, and it was a good reminder of like, oh wow, like we haven't talked in forever, so I definitely want to just catch up and see how like things are going for you, and really like reminisce on the high school days.
Yeah, it's funny. The last time I actually saw you, I remember because it's so memorable. Is I don't even know what you were doing, but me and Danita had went to the Adele concert in 2016, I think. And I was like walking across the street trying to get there because I'd never been to Austin before. And I like saw, and it was dark too. And I was like, I don't know if you saw me first or I saw you, but it was like Darrion. You were like Kayla. I was like, oh my god, and I was like, hey, and I
Oh
think I
my!
hugged you, and I rushed into the building, and I was like, that
I
was
like
so weird.
I vaguely remember this. I think
It was beautiful.
you were going to what's it called? Bass Concert Hall, right?
I think it was Frank Irwin.
Frank Irwin. Actually, no, that sounds right. Yeah,
That makes sense.
because
Okay, yeah.
Bass Concert Hall was specifically for like musicals, um,
Oh.
and then like the bigger performances by like pop stars and other celebrities. Frank Irwin. I think I remember it was like was I think was I like with a group of people and we were
Yeah.
like I remember. Okay, so at the time, I mean, I still am, but I was involved with an organization called, and I still am involved with that organization called Camp Kesem, which is like it's a camp for children that have parents with cancer. And so for that day, we had this activity called bucketing, where we pretty much just ask people if they want to donate for our organization, and we generally bucket around the Frank Irwin Center.
Mhm.
And it's so funny, like seeing you. I remember that was my junior year at UT. And oh my gosh, it's been so long. That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's wild. Now I know what you were doing. 5 years later, I got the answer. I was like, it was just all so much to take in that day. I was like, oh my gosh.
Before that, like the last time we saw each other before that was probably high school, right?
Yeah.
Like 2012, 2013. That's when I graduated, 2013.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I graduated the next year.
Oh my gosh. So like 3 years before that. Like so we've been seeing each other in like 3 to 5 year increments.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every 3 to 5 years we catch up. That's so wild. So so after you graduated high school, you went to UT.
Right. Yeah, I went to UT immediately. And so I graduated 2013, went to UT Austin. My first year, I lived in a dorm.
Mhm.
Loved it so much. Like my time at UT was so fun.
Yeah.
I think that was like my true awakening when like the game came out. But no, like that was really when I got to have like the full college experience and really, I guess, like explore myself and have fun and just learn about myself. And that's when I feel like that's when I really like appreciated life and just like
Yeah.
learn to just be free and just be myself and just throw myself out there. And I think Austin was the perfect environment for that. It's like a good city, and also UT is a good school, and so I was just surrounding myself with good people, and I don't know, was just became more flamboyant, and I just got to be myself, and that was just fun. I don't know, the idea of not living at home and being away
Mhm.
not only allowed myself to grow, but like grow, I guess, more responsibly. Like, all right, I gotta cook today. I
Yeah.
gotta pay
Oh
bills.
yeah.
But really, like, I think personality wise, like, I just got to really explore and just be myself. So
Yeah,
that
I always have like I don't even know what to call it, like a check-in with myself every few years. And like when I was in high school, like I don't know if I thought I was like, oh yeah, I'm mature for my age and like this is who I am and this is my personality and this is how I'm gonna be. And then like maybe a year or two into college, I would look back and be like, I'm a completely different person than how I was in high school.
you know what that is? Growth.
Bro, literally,
Do you know that gift?
how much more
Growth.
growing do I have to do? But it's like every year I'm like, wow, I don't think the way I thought then. And that I'm way okay. In all fair, I'm way more radicalized now than I used to be in high school. Like, I don't I don't know. It's like a switch flipped or something in me, and I was like, I never thought I would be like a political person.
Well,
Like,
I think now it's like, politics is playing a huge part of our lives where we're growing up, and a lot
oh
of the actions done by politicians will now directly affect us. Whereas, like, at a younger age, we didn't think too much about it. And we're just, we're overwhelmed with school.
yeah,
We have hormones pumping through us. We're emotional, and
yeah,
we're focusing on other things. But now that we're older, like I said, a lot of the decisions that the politicians make, they directly affect us. And so that's why we need to voice our opinion. We need to we need to keep up with politics. Um, yeah. So like I said, because it does affect us.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm like that too. I'm like, before I did not understand anything about politics, but now I'm like beginning to understand a little bit more. I'm getting there.
Yeah,
But
it can be a lot. Like
yeah,
it
yeah.
can be a lot. I try to find the simplest version of things, which is why I know people know that I'm obsessed with AOC. People know that about me, but I don't think they understand to the extent I'm obsessed with AOC because like she is so good at like taking these really complicated like things that normal people have like never understood because nobody's ever bothered to explain it to them
Right.
like in like layman's terms, and she just like breaks it all down and explains it in a way a regular person can understand. And I think
Mhm.
that takes a lot of intelligence. I don't think people understand how smart she is either, because I'm like, it takes a lot of brain power not only to understand this
Right.
system and the government and all the inner workings and the terminology, and to break it down to into like components that you can understand.
Right.
And I'm like,
And I think what makes her such like a likable person is that I feel like when you think of Americans, like she's like the living, like, I guess, like living idea of what an American looks like.
yeah,
That she worked her way up and she understands what it means to like to really work to her level. And she's like you said, she does a really good job of breaking complex like political terms and ideas and like breaking them down so that we understand them, because half the time I don't understand it, but
Yeah.
she's able to convey it in a way so that we understand it, and I think she's amazing for that.
Mhm.
And on top of that, I don't know, she's just good at trying to like get to our level
Yes.
by she'll do things like, I don't know, she played like Among Us with
Yeah.
people on Twitch, and I thought that was amazing. Like she is trying to like relate to us and get to our level and like talk to us indirectly in that manner, you know?
Yes, because she doesn't like reject like the new forms of media, which a lot of like because politicians are in office for like decades and decades. And
Right.
so she like instead of rejecting the new wave of like social media and Twitch and YouTube, she kind of embraces it all.
Yeah.
And like her doing like okay, for instance, when the GameStop thing happened a couple days ago, GameStop and the stock market and all that, she immediately was like, we're gonna break down the GameStop thing, and she went to Twitch to do it.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, so she had like the guy who helped start Reddit, and she had like a regular guy who like does YouTube videos on the stock market and stuff. She like had them on, and another
Wow.
woman, I forgot what her position was, but like, and they all like had a conversation about what was going on the stock market, like just on Twitch. And I was like, what other politician is doing this? When have we ever just had like somebody explain
Right.
what is going on? Because we hear it on the news, we hear like bits of things, and we're like, yeah, I think I kind of understand the situation, but it's like
Yeah.
now I have a better understanding of what's going on.
Same here. And I feel like definitely with this whole GameStop drama, there's like this ongoing joke that there's this meme I saw where a lot of science students, like, we dread reading like the protocols for like a practical in lab, or like
Mhm.
the experiments of lab, which isn't too long. Like it'll take 30 minutes to an hour just like reading it and understanding like the concepts for each step. But we dread doing all that, but we don't dread like reading 5 hours of the whole GameStop drama. And I'm like, that is so true. It's interesting because we've never seen anything like this before. And I think how all of us, like, we're all banding together to take down all these super rich people. And I just love that.
It takes a village. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like that's right. They're gonna get, and I know they're talking about. I don't really know if they're gonna go through with anything. They're talking about like, oh, we have to like reconsider the rules of the stock market, and we need to like do some reform. And I'm like, the players got played, and now they're upset essentially, and they're
Yep.
like trying to.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess we can rewind and talk about high school. I don't. Every day it seems like I remember less and less about high school, but
Same. Same.
like racking my brain. Like Evangeline and Jessica will like tell me things that happen like on the bus to like UIL, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. They'll say names, and I'm like, who are these people you're talking about? Like, oh, I should say, me and Darrion were in orchestra together. Um,
Oh,
we're
yes. We both played viola.
yes.
And did we? I don't think we ever had like orchestra class together,
I don't
right?
think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Because I think
Yeah.
my junior year, I was in symphony and you were in chamber your senior year. So yeah, then you graduated. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, my freshman year, I was a freshman, so you're in eighth grade at
Yeah.
Wonderlic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, middle school. And so I was in Phil 2 my freshman year. Sophomore, junior years, I was in symphony. So
Hmm.
then you were a freshman and sophomore. Were you in symphony then?
I started in Phil 2,
Yeah.
and then yeah, so I was a freshman in Phil 2, and then I went to Phil 1, and then symphony and chamber. So I kind of went through.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I see. Yeah, and I remember we every Wednesday we had sectionals, which is when we would stay after school and go to orchestra. And sectionals is just like 1 hour of rehearsal for each individual section in orchestra. So Wednesdays were allotted for violas, and that was good bonding moments. Like I think
Oh yeah.
I remember like I feel like the whole viola section for symphony and chamber, we all bonded over the fact that we struggled over over what was the music that we had to play in the very beginning? Solo and ensemble.
Oh, uh-huh.
Remember that? Yeah, we had to like they would make us play the solo pieces, whether or not we were wanting to
Yeah,
audition
yeah,
or do the solo stuff. And I remember because I didn't care about it, or
yeah,
had no intentions on auditioning for the solo component. I just did not care about the actual like practicing, and so I was just trying to
yeah.
get by, just do good on the tests in orchestra
Okay.
class.
I
That
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know. I was gonna say like that's something that I like low key just miss a little bit. Like I hated practicing, but when I look back, I'm like, not gonna lie, like I feel like I do miss orchestra just a little bit. At the
Yeah.
time, I hated it, but maybe you don't appreciate things until you miss out on them, and that's
Maybe
how I feel with orchestra.
maybe we were trauma bonding. We were all
Yes.
traumatized experiences. So we're like made us stick together because like nobody else understood our pain. So we were like, we only have each other. I remember how I think it was like our first when I first got to symphony and we had like full orchestra rehearsal like before like our very first one. And I remember they sat me and you in the front and we were both like we really got to sit in the front and get this music we've never seen before and they like made us sight read it and I was like so, yeah,
You
I
happen
don't
to
know
know
what's
what
going
song that was?
on. No,
I'm
it
trying-
wasn't.
Was it? I want to say Slavonic dance, but I don't think it's Slavonic
It's
dance.
something fast because I was like I can't keep up.
Oh boy, like sitting in the front two seats, especially for full orchestra,
Yeah,
was so nerve wracking. I think
yeah,
I loved orchestra, but I don't think I was like really good at it. I think I was average.
yeah,
And
same.
so I just remember like I did not feel comfortable sitting in the very front. I'm more comfortable just like kind of blending in with the background. Like I can get by, but like I'm not gonna be really good.
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah. I think I mean, I like to play. I was so on and off about it because I was like, I love playing the music and like learning it and getting to know it and stuff. But then like rehearsals and then just being in the and I was like, I feel like I'm in here all day
Yes.
and like especially when like full orchestra starts and then you also have sectionals and then you also have private lessons because I had private lessons and then I was like, and then you also have class, and then you also have Eagle's Nest because I don't think you were there, but then they
Oh,
made us
Eagles
do,
Nest. Yeah, I haven't heard that in forever.
yeah, and it was like our homeroom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Called the
I
Eagle's Nest.
that happened my senior year. I remember because um during Eagles Nest, the very beginning, that's when I was on announcement team. And
Yeah,
that's and and the very beginning of Eagles Nest, I had to go do announcements every morning. And I was a hot mess. Like looking back, I remember the whole announcements team and we would just play around.
yeah.
And I feel like that's pretty evident. Y'all know that. And we would just always laugh. But that was
So, like,
fun.
yeah, so hard to get up there and not giggle or do something stupid because I did it my senior year with Yusrin. I don't know if you remember Yusrin.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yusrin, I remember her.
yeah. She had an older
What's
sister who either might have been
Yas?
a year or
Yeah.
older. Yeah.
Yeah, her older sister, she and her now ex-boyfriend, they took care of me a lot when we
Aw,
would drink certain beverages in college.
that's
And
intense. Yeah.
yeah. And like they really like looked after me, especially my freshman year when I was like, I'm baby, I don't know where I should go or I don't know. And I think that's when I just started drinking apple juice. And and so they really took care of me and they always like made sure that I don't pass my limit. Oh my gosh, like you just like unlocked this like box of memories I forgot I
Wow.
had.
Oh yeah, I haven't talked to Yusrin in a while, but so yeah, it was like me and her and Griselda and Brittany.
Zelda. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Gabriel.
Gabriel. Yeah.
Yeah, because I
There are
know,
four of y'all.
huh?
There are four of y'all.
Yeah, there were four of us.
Oh wow. I think my year there were three.
Oh, I thought they was had four. But
Well, I feel like, am I forgetting someone? Is
you're like,
it
oops. No. But yeah, we did announcements too, and we were like, I don't know why, but like they would give us like the announcements, and we would always be like fighting over who had to read the longer ones because I guess we were lazy and nobody wanted to read the longer ones.
No, because I think what for I think we are on the same page because for me it's like I don't want to read the longer one because I'm afraid of reading the longer ones and messing up.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the longer ones you have a higher chance of messing up than the shorter ones. And maybe I think also at that time, despite being on the announcement team, I was very, I guess, very self-conscious of like my like gay voice. And so I'm like, I don't want people to hear it.
I
I don't
don't
want people to
think
hear
have to.
the voice.
Oh wow,
Oh.
because you also did theater, so
Yeah, and it's weird because I love doing theater and expressing myself because there's a part of me where like I feel like I can hide behind my character.
okay,
So like like oh, this character's gonna be gay,
yeah,
so I'm just gonna
you're gonna be a
be gay
feminist.
and yeah, exactly. And so that I was able to
Ah,
hide myself behind this character. But I think when people got to see the real me, that's when like a lot of the insecurities kind of were showing, and I was very self-conscious on my voice and how I looked. That was when my acne like just started going away, but it was still there. So I was definitely self-conscious on like how I looked, how I sounded.
yeah.
And when I got to UT, that's when I got to be more comfortable with myself.
So,
So
so in high school, were you out or
yeah, so I was
okay?
out. Like I came out my freshman year, and I think my senior year. Like I'm sure everyone knew to a point where like I just didn't need to even say it because I feel like everyone already knew. It's weird because I felt okay being out,
Hmm.
but maybe there was like some bit of internalized homophobia where it's like, oh, I'm afraid that people will know that I'm gay because I sound gay.
Uh-huh.
And that was something that I struggled with a little bit. It's a weird dichotomy because sometimes I felt there's some days where I was like so proud, like I'm gonna do me, like yes, I'm gay,
Yeah.
yes. But then there are other days where I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's a cute boy, let me act a little more masculine.
Yeah.
And I think that's just me trying to live up to like the gay societal role of like, oh, you being feminine in the gay community is unattractive and you need to be more masculine. But at the end of the day, it's like we're gay,
Yeah.
like what, and there is no right or wrong way for a gay person to act. And what is masculine? What is feminine?
Right. Yeah.
And that's just like it's obviously a societal construct,
Yeah.
and we by enforcing these rules we're just playing onto it, and like we need to break down this barrier between what's masculine and feminine. And I think definitely like we're striving towards that goal, but it's been baby steps for the past couple of years as a society, and I think we're all definitely progressing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I only ask because yeah, I didn't know you were insecure about that kind of stuff even after being out, I guess. And I don't remember, like, I don't know if I was a freshman. I might have been a freshman because I remember Jalissa, um I don't know why. I don't know what we were talking about, but we were just walking and she was like, "Oh yeah, like my friend Darrion." And he's like he's gay, but he doesn't seem gay, right? And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess so." And I just remember having that conversation of like I think that's when I found out because I didn't know you that well yet.
I'm sure there was like definitely something that I was hiding, and I felt very insecure about, and I think to make up for that I probably acted a little bit more masculine. I think maybe that's probably why like maybe at the time I came across as like straight passing.
Yeah, funny to say. Yeah, weird word, but yeah, but yes.
But no, yeah, I think definitely that was something that I was very insecure about. And I think, in high school, we're also insecure about
Oh
something.
yeah. Mhm.
And I concealed it. I tried to conceal it. But as I entered college, I spent 4 years in college just accepting myself.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
I-
spent 4 years accepting myself, and it was a long journey, but
yeah.
Austin was a really good place. It's like gay central of Texas,
Yeah.
and it really, I don't know, I just felt free,
Yeah.
free of judgment, and for some reason, like knowing that I'm physically away from family. I love my family, but I haven't like officially come out to the parents, the uncles, aunts, the cousins, the brother. They know,
Yeah.
but it's just like with Asian traditional values, it makes me a little nervous. And so I know like distance had to do something with that, with me being comfortable, just being myself in Austin. Maybe because I know that like, okay, like if I do something here, like no one at home is gonna know. Whereas like if I'm in Houston and I act like myself, I'm sure like someone in public, it's a small like Asian community, so like I'm sure
Uh,
we're gonna know. So I don't know, like being in Austin just felt so fun, and so I was able to just be free and be myself.
yeah. Yeah, that I'm glad you got to be in a place that you needed to be. Like the universe will all, or God, or whoever, whatever you believe in, like
Yeah,
it will put you in the place you need to be. Like college, I feel like for a lot of us was a very freeing, opening like experience, and
yeah,
it definitely is a place. Like I know it's such a cliche, but you will get to know yourself like when you go to college. Just especially like if it's your first time being away from your parents at all,
yep,
or like family at all, or just being on your own even a little bit, like because the only I went all the way to San Antonio, and
hmm,
I didn't know anybody in San Antonio. I didn't have family or anything, and the only person I knew was Danita, because she went to school with me, and
yeah.
that was just like random. Like I didn't know she was gonna end up going with me. I hadn't like planned on it. I was literally like, I'm about to be in a new city by myself. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't drive, and I'm like, oh no. So I was like,
That was that nerve wracking for you
yeah,
to
it
do,
was.
explore, or was that like did you see a sense of like thrill in that?
I was excited and nervous. It was a lot of both because I'm usually like I don't with that kind of a thing. I was like, okay, I'm not too far away. I'm not in a whole nother other state, and
True.
I was like, and I'll be living on campus, so I won't have to worry about getting to and from school. And the campus was relatively small,
So
and
you dorm
yeah,
on. Gotcha, gotcha.
I lived in a dorm for all 4 years, and I think in the last 2 years we lived in like these apartment style dorms, kind of.
I Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I wasn't too nervous. Real honestly, Danita was probably my emotional crutch because once I knew she was going, I really stopped worrying about it. Like I was like, I'll at least know somebody, and I get along with people fairly well, so I was like, I'm not gonna have a
I
hard.
feel like you're a very easygoing person and you're like easy to talk to. And I
Yeah,
feel like that's definitely a quality that you need to really to just make friends, not only in college, but like in general in life.
yeah.
So I don't see you like I can't even imagine you struggling to like make friends in college.
It did take a while though. It like for me to get comfortable and uh get like a real friendship going because I didn't know, but like a lot of the people who went, or maybe it was just my classes, a lot of the people who went there, like they already kind of knew each other.
Yeah.
And so they were all like mostly from San Antonio. A lot of them went to the same high schools. There's a lot of like Catholic high schools in San Antonio. And
Mm,
so they all kind of went to those same 3 or 4 high schools, and all those kids go to the Catholic college, which is the college that I went to.
yeah.
And so it was kind of hard my first year. I would say like my sophomore and junior year, it was a lot easier. to like make friends, because I actually, and that's when I started taking like more psychology classes, because I got had to get a lot of basics out of the way
Right,
first
right.
year. So I wasn't meeting a lot of psych students. It was just a bunch of kids, whatever major, taking their English class.
Yeah.
So I joined more organizations and stuff, and that definitely helped. But I was nervous about like, because I felt like within the first couple of months, like Danita had already had her set of like nursing friends, and she had already had her set of this friends, and I was like, I talked to my professors, and that's pretty much it. I'm not like hanging out with anybody, any students. I would literally like go and sit in like my professor's office and just hang out and talk to them, because I was like,
Hey, letter of recommendation right
that
there.
that that's like none of the kids will talk to me, so I'm gonna talk to y'all instead. And so like, and I don't regret that at all, because I still talk to those professors. But
Good. That's good.
yeah,
Both
yeah,
here. Both.
they are like my friends in a way, and they got me through it, because that last year, that last semester in undergrad, I was going through it. It's like really going
You
through it.
studied psychology,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I did.
And so like befriending a lot of these teachers now that like you graduated, do you see them in like a different light? Like I've always seen as like professors in a certain way, and then after being friends with them, I realized like, oh wait, like they're human too. Like,
Yeah,
they're not like superhuman robots where they can like grade papers. Sometimes they can't grade papers because they're busy doing other things or their hobbies. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that took me a while to realize, like probably late high school, early college, when I started like befriending some high school teachers and just hearing like the stuff that they had to do on the side. I'm like, oh wow, like I
yeah.
forgot. Teaching is a job for you. And I don't know, I just like saw that like they do everything around their life in their life revolves around teaching, but that's not entirely the case for most of these teachers.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I got to talk to them, and they would. I mean, one of them in particular would like talk to me about politics and all kinds of things. And we went on like a conference trip
Wow.
in 2018 one time, and it was just, yeah, it was just like 4 or 5 of the psych kids, and then like 3 of the professors, and we all like hung out, and like we sat at the bar together, and like I was like, oh, this is weird, but it was like, just they're just people. We had dinner and lunch together and everything.
That's amazing.
That was really nice. Yeah, I was like, wow. And I was, and it's funny because I'm like, oh, they're like doctors, and they're so smart, and like, what am I gonna say to them? And but they're like chill, and they're just as goofy as I am, and like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's always a nice feeling. Like that's how I felt too. Like when I started hanging out with some professors, seeing that like exactly that, oh, they have personalities,
yeah.
that they're, even though they are, someone that is like higher above us that are like professors, we can still like relate to them on our level, and they're not as intimidating. They're not as scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I feel
it's
you on that.
I guess it's because we're getting older, because I was like in high school, it's like teachers, it's like they're teachers, and it's like that's a boundary. You don't talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yes.
then you get to college, and they're like, hey, yeah, you want to go and get a drink? You want to go hang out at the, it's like we're just like chill, straight chilling. Like,
You know how like in high school they always tell us, oh, they won't allow this in college. You better come on time. They're gonna do this to you. And then
oh,
you get to college and like the professors are so chill. They're like, no, yeah, I don't care.
yeah,
Fuck whoever, fuck this. Like, whoa, what? Like
yeah.
everything that we learned in high school about college is not entirely true.
Not at all. Yeah, and I know it always depends on like what professors you get, what school you end up going to, but like
Right.
my professors, they were like, I don't care. Like,
Same here, same here.
they're like, turn your work in on time. And like, honestly, I didn't even always turn my work in on time. If I'm honest, I would like, I had one professor, and me and her were so similar, because we had a hard time with being on time. Just me and her, like, because we were night owls too. I would like be doing work at 2, 3 a.m. and I would email her something in the middle of the night, and she would answer me immediately. And I'm like, we're both up at 3 a.m. Like, knowing we have to see each other in class tomorrow in the morning. And I'm like,
Yeah.
we're our best. Like, we're both gonna be walking late, tired. But like, oh yeah, we
That
were
is
so
so funny.
this is not good for us. But so after you graduated UT, like, what are you doing now?
what am I? Ooh.
Is that
Uh,
a loaded question?
no. So it's not a loaded question. It's just that I feel like sometimes I have to explain the journey to get to where I am now.
Yeah.
If I were to describe my current position, I would say that I am a full-time content creator. And
Okay.
I hate saying that because there's always like this judgment from other people, like, oh, like, are you, are you doing fine? Are you doing well? Like, how, how are you doing financially? And I'm like, why are you asking about? But I'm like, I'm doing well. I'm doing well financially, and I just really make like a lot of content on various social media platforms.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of like science related topics, and I guess like you can call me like a quote unquote science communicator.
Okay.
So I make a lot of science content and just collaborate with various brands. And almost every week, I'm either doing a podcast
Yeah.
or giving a talk at a school.
Yeah.
And these talks generally consist of like me talking about my journey in high school and college and how I was able to work in a lab and then use my passions of theater and science and kind of blend the two,
Yeah.
get to where I am and kind of, I guess, make a career out of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely what I'm doing now is unexpected because when I was in college, for the longest time, I wanted to become a doctor. I think
Oh.
even the idea like stemmed from, or I guess began when I was in elementary school that I always wanted to become a doctor. And in high school, college, being a doctor meant like going to medical school. And so in undergrad, I was pre med all 4 years, but I think halfway through, I kind of contemplated about adding theater as my second major, and I thought, well, I've always been involved with theater in middle school and high school, but I was involved with drama club. I never took theater courses, and I
Okay.
would like to have like some type of professional training. So at UT, if you're a full-time student, you have a flat tuition rate. So I
Okay.
thought, okay, let me just, I can add theater as my second major. I don't have to pay more. The only downside is that I would have to rack up a lot of hours per semester because obviously there's not a lot of overlapping classes between science and theater. But if I'm passionate in both fields, then I should pursue it and make the most out of it, have fun. So I contemplated an entire semester. And after I decided that I want to add theater as my second major, I went up to my biochemistry advisor and asked him if it was okay for me to do that. And he was very supportive, like, yes, do it. It's not common. So definitely do it. And if you're passionate, by all means do it. I'm not going to stop you. But you need to go over to the theater department and ask them if they can allow you to add theater as your second major. So then I walked all the way across campus, went over to the theater department, and then asked and spoke with the theater advisor. And he was very hesitant
Oh.
because he said, "Well, you're a sophomore. It's spring semester. You're halfway through college, and apparently, like UT has a very strict policy on graduating within 4 years. And so the advisor, Mark Anthony, he said, well, how is it going to be feasible for you to squeeze 4 years worth of theater into two
Oh.
years? On top of that, finish your biochem classes and your pre-med. So you have to take those prereq classes for medical school. How are you going to do that? And I remember I was just sitting there so stumped, like, no, it's gonna work. I'm gonna make it work. And
Yeah.
so right off the bat, he rejected me. He said, "No, sorry, you can't do that.
Wow.
You can add theater as your second major." And so I did what any other person would do, and I fought him. Bop, bop, bop. No, but but I petitioned to get into the theater department and add theater as my second major, and I had to like fill out this schedule and plan out my courses for junior and senior year per semester.
Yeah.
And I think the way that I planned everything out, it showed that I would have to take at least 19 hours per semester.
Wow.
And the admission committee were like, well, we don't know about this, but fine, like we'll accept you, but we're gonna keep a close eye on you. And if we see that you're failing or doing bad in your classes, then sorry, like you'll get kicked out. And I said, okay, like game on. So my first semester in the theater department, I did so well, and I think that was probably my first semester where I did very very well in all of my classes. And I think with me, I like keeping myself busy. I
Mhm.
think that's like I thrive on being busy. And that's what it was. Like I was just busy going to classes, studying, and also doing research because that's what I was doing. Yeah, doing research. And I just did that for the next like 2 years. Graduated in 2017 with a Bachelor of Science and Arts in Biochemistry and Bachelor of Arts in Theater and Dance. And I think my last semester I took 22, 23 hours. That was crazy hectic. And it was
I don't know
so
how you did that. Our cap was at 18 in undergrad.
really.
They
No, yeah,
capped.
yeah. Exactly, us too. They at 18, they capped the I guess your schedule at 18. So you had to petition to
Yeah.
get more. And so that's what I had to do every semester. And they would have to look at
Oh,
my grades semester before. And they're like, well, like you're doing well, so like of course you can do it. And it wasn't too bad because I think they were very lenient. I just had to go to the Balchem advisory office and then just have them like fill out a simple form, have them sign it, and then that's that. But yeah, so after I graduated, I still wanted to go to medical school, but I knew that I wanted to do research. And so the question was, do I want to do research in medical school or do research in graduate school? So do I
mhm.
want to get an MD, PhD, or just a PhD? And despite having three years of experience of working in a lab, I hadn't published yet, and so I felt a little incompetent. So I felt like I needed to just gain more research experience. So moved back to Houston, worked in the medical center as a research technician for 2.5 years. And those 2.5 years, I worked like crazy. Like I put so much effort working on this project, uh, mostly because of like my ambition and my determination. But at other times, I think my boss had like really high expectations and needed things to get quantified or like gather all this data done in like a short amount of time. So I found myself just like staying very, very late in the lab.
Yeah.
And so, during the day while I'm busy working, at nighttime when everyone left and I'm done for the day, I would just quickly make these videos at night
Mhm.
and just really like make all these silly videos and dump them, like video dump them on my personal Instagram. And I think that's when a lot of friends were just like, "Oh my gosh, this is so funny," and at a high volume. And so I realized like, okay, maybe like I don't know, I'm onto something. Let me just make a Facebook page. And so that Facebook page
Okay.
would serve as an area for me to just like post all of my silly videos in lab. And initially, I couldn't think of a name for that page, and so let me just name it Darrion. Darrion Nguyen. No, Darrion. Eventually, I think in the subsequent months, I made an Instagram, and on Instagram, Darrion period win was already taken by my personal Instagram, and so my Finsta, let me just name it Lab Shenanigans because that's what I actually do, just Lab Shenanigans. So, oh my gosh, that Facebook page gained like 10,000 followers the first week. Crazy,
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, I know. Like Facebook, who uses Facebook anymore?
Yeah.
Uh, and then Instagram was pretty slow in the beginning. I think like in the very beginning, I had 2,000 followers for like a month or two, and then I would cross post. So like something I post on Instagram, I would post on Facebook. Anything on Facebook, I would post on Instagram. And so eventually, like I gained like 10,000 followers on Instagram the first couple of months, and then I just kept that up for like an entire year. And so on Facebook, I tried changing my name to Lab Shenanigans. But apparently, if the name that you're changing to, if it's so far from like the original name, because I can't be like, let's change Darrion Wynn to I love porn because it's so like, it's so different.
Yeah.
Facebook won't allow you to do that.
Okay.
So when I tried changing Darrion Wynn to Lab Shenanigans, they're like, no, you can't because
Oh,
it's
dang.
lab doesn't relate to Darrion. I
Yeah.
was like, okay. So if you notice, like that's why on my Facebook page, it doesn't say anything Lab Shenanigans related, just all Darrion Wynn.
Wow.
So I did that for a while, and I just really experimented on various social media platforms, and I kept doing that. And I think I reached to a point where I felt like I was at a dead end
Mm.
because um, I love making this content. Like it's fun, it's entertaining, it's funny, but I had gained a large following. I think at that point on Facebook, I had about I want to say like 50,000 followers, and then on Instagram, maybe like 20, 30,000 followers.
Mhm.
And I just felt like I don't know, like I wasn't making a difference. Like
Mhm.
this is not who I want to, I guess, become. Like just like making funny videos. Like I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference in some type of way. So I wanted to change my content, make it more educational. And this was summer of 2019. And at this point, I think this pivotal moment for me when I wanted to change my content was also the same time when TikTok was just starting.
Mm.
And I don't know if you remember, but like TikTok came from was like a different, I guess, was Musically
Yeah.
before.
Right.
And we know Musically was a very cringy app.
Yeah.
And so at that point, TikTok still had some like cringy residue of Musically.
Mhm.
And at that time, no one wanted to take TikTok seriously. So we all downloaded it. I say we as like a society. We downloaded it as a joke.
Right.
And I had no intentions on making anything, taking it seriously, just having fun on it. But it also served as an area for me to experiment and play with different type of content. And that's exactly what I did. I on TikTok, one of the most popular trends are using like a pop culture audio and then lip syncing to the audio and
Right.
applying the lyrics of that audio to a relatable situation or scenario. And I wanted to have fun and just kind of spice things up a bit. Well, okay, no one on here is making any science content. So let
Mhm.
me try to lip sync and apply the words to this audio to rather like a relatable, not a relatable situation or scenario, but let's try applying it to a science concept or a biology concept. So I did that in my first video that I did that to. It was an audio clip from the show Dance Moms,
Mhm.
and I explained one phase of mitosis, and the words of that audio just fit so perfectly with this scenario that I was conveying or portraying, and people like ate it up.
Yeah.
And I remember overnight, I gained about 19,000 followers. It
Wild.
was mind blowing. And that really shocked me because, when you get on a social media app, the last thing you want to do is learn. You get on a social media app to decompress,
That is
to
fair.
to just watch entertaining content. And so that blew my mind because that made me realize like, oh, like people get on here to de-stress and yet they're able to learn something or find this content funny or relatable or even say like, I will never forget this because you just made like a very helpful visual for me to remember this. Or I will never forget this and I'm going to do well on my next exam because of
Mhm.
this video. And that was very reassuring to me that okay, maybe I think I'm heading in the right direction. Like maybe I'm onto something. Let me continue doing this. And so TikTok was just the perfect platform to do that. And so I've been doing that for like the past year and a half, and things have been growing. And so knowing that I'm able to make this type of difference, I've just been on this path of let me continue this and just keep doing this. And I don't know how, but I was able to make a career out of this. And so while I'm working as a research tech, I'm doing this on the side, and brands are reaching out to me. I'm getting sponsorships. Okay, like let me just continue doing this. And the long-term goal is I don't want to go to med school anymore, but I do want to continue research. So let me apply to grad school. Applied to grad school, got into my like dream neuroscience PhD program at Baylor
Mhm.
College of Medicine. And once I found out that I got in, things on social media just like really started to pick up. This was about a year ago, a little less than a year ago. Last April was when they sent me the offer. Like, congratulations, you got accepted, and things were just going so well for me that I decided to defer for an entire year. And
Yeah.
the whole department was very, very supportive of my decision, and they're very understanding too. And so, during this gap year, um, I decided to stop working in the lab and to focus on social media.
Mhm.
Uh, but Miss Rona came along, and
Here we
Miss Rona
are.
came along, and I wouldn't say ruined some opportunities. If anything, it gave me more opportunities, because
Mhm.
now everything is done virtually and done online. I've been invited to a lot of school events to give talks and kind of use my story, my journey as a way to motivate students to pursue the things that they love. I had no intentions on doing anything with my theater degree, to be honest. Like, I did it just for
Okay.
fun, for me to just like have some type of formal training to like ease my mind. And like, on in a surprising way, I was able to kind of merge my interests where like all these videos that I'm making, there is a huge theatrical element to it where acting is required, or like the videography, the camera angles are play a huge role in how the viewers see the content or how they feel. And so, after social media blew up, other opportunities started coming my way where like casting directors, producers have reached out to me and asked me to be on TV shows and to audition for TV shows.
Oh,
And I'm currently a host of like a YouTube series from the Singapore company, online, but other casting agencies have reached out to me, and that's something that I'm wanting to consider as well. And so, uh, that year mark has kind of come around
no.
with the neuroscience PhD program, where they asked me recently, like, so it's been about a year since we interviewed you. So they interviewed me in like beginning of February, and they needed to know, am I gonna come back this year? And so it's actually recent when like I just had to really take a step back, think
Yeah.
about my whole journey. All right, like, am I going to put my social media aside to a halt and 100% focus on grad school? Or maybe I can go into grad school, most of my attention is going to be on school, and then a small part of me is going to focus on social media. And so I just had to take a step back and really think, like, what am I going to do? And it was a very tough decision, but I ultimately decided, let me not go to grad school. Let me turn down this position and just focus on social media. I know for sure, like, I am passionate in not medicine, passionate in research. I love doing research. And I love like the frustrating parts that come with research and not having experiments go the way that you plan. But I don't think right now is a good time for me. I'm definitely on a roll with social media. And I think maybe when it comes to a certain point where I am irrelevant, or I am no longer, I guess, in the spotlight, then I'll go back and go pursue a PhD. But now, like, I feel like I'm at my prime, and I
Yeah.
need to take advantage of it. And I've contemplated about like going to grad school and then focusing on social media, but my biggest concern was I wouldn't, if I go into grad school, I want to put all of my attention on grad school.
Mhm.
So I actually spoke with uh the program directors last Thursday and
Oh
just told
yeah.
them, this is all
Wow.
recent.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all
So
recent.
recent. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing for the past couple of months, just making content online and making more designs for my merchandise store, and taking on different brand collaborations and brand deals. So it's been a journey from research tech to content creator. It
Social
was
media king. Yeah.
a
I
so unexpected, so unexpected.
you really definitely have the right idea about like social media is a funny thing, and if you hit the sweet spot of that thing, you got to just ride it out. Like because like you were saying, you don't know like how long like it'll last, how long will I be big, how long will I be popular, like
Right.
will the numbers ever stagnate, like and you just never
Hmm.
know. But school will always be there. They will, you can always find yourself a program to get into, and you know if you really
Exactly.
want to ever go back to education, it is never too late to do school. But social media is fickle, so like
Yep.
it's hard to, because there's algorithms and all kinds of things. And
So many different things are trending, and like as a content creator, your number one job is one, always be authentic, but two, understand that trend
yes,
and to really hop on it, to
yes.
to do that. And I think like one of when I was like telling a lot of these, I guess when I was telling like a lot of professors and the program directors about my decision, I think there was this huge concern that, oh, yeah, like school is always an option, but you're going to be older. Like, are you still going to have the drive? Are you still going to have the passion? And I feel very, I guess, grateful that they're concerned about me in that manner.
Hmm.
But knowing myself, I'm a go-getter type of person where if I want something, I'm gonna do it and get it.
Yeah.
And I know I still want a PhD. Like I want to do research and get that PhD. The question is like, when am I gonna do it?
Hmm.
And the answer to that is not now. But
Yeah.
I know at some point like I am gonna go back to school and get that.
I feel
So
like
yeah.
I don't know if it's like the generation before us or if it's us, but like I feel like we've always had this sense of like you have to do things young. Like you need to
Yep.
get your PhD now, and like you need to find a job, find your whole career now. Like what you want to do for the rest of your life. You need to figure that out now. And like I'm like,
That's frustrating because
yeah,
especially in undergrad, when I feel like there's a stigma when someone tells another student, "Oh yeah, I changed my major like 3 times."
yeah,
And I hate that so much because that that just reinforces this idea that you have to have your life together by the time you graduate college. And every time I give a talk to schools, I always encourage everyone to really take a step back, think about the things that you want. And if it means you changing your major 10 times, then change your major 10 times because you are young. And I will say you guys are young because I'm 26. They're young. They're young and no one should have their life together, put together at that young age.
mhm,
There are a lot of 30, 40, 50-year olds who are still trying to figure out what they're passionate about, or they'll reflect and think, dang, I really wish I didn't do this. I really wish at that time point I had really thought about the things that I wanted and pursued my interests. Because that's why like I think a lot of people have like midlife crises because
oh yeah,
they are stuck at a job where they're not very happy about. And I think that's because at a young age they thought they were passionate in something and they never really took the time to think about it and they just went full force. And I think college is a perfect opportunity to um, step back, breathe, and think about the stuff that you're passionate in, or maybe not even passionate in, or like you want to explore all your options and experiment.
yeah,
Is she a scientist? Experiment, but
yeah.
it's but yeah. So it's exactly like I'm glad that I graduated and took this gap year as a research tech to gain more research experience. Like that was the initial intention, to gain more research experience. But in hindsight, I was able to uh, find this other career path and find the passion in that career path and kind of just pursue that. And I even now, like I don't think I'm gonna do this long term. I know I'm not gonna do this long term. In the moment, I am excited about this. I'm passionate about it, but maybe who knows? In 10 years, I might not be passionate. I'll find another passion and I'm going to pursue that.
Yeah. Do you find anything like Because okay, so I watch a lot of YouTubers. Like I love content creator. I mean I'm in that whole world, and they
Yeah.
will often like there was like a big wave of like, and maybe it's still going on, but there was a big wave of like a lot of content creators getting like burnout, and a lot of them were talking about like Jenna Marbles, for example, who is my
Right.
favorite YouTuber up until she stopped doing it, and I thought Jenna would do it till she died, like because she's so good
Yeah.
at it. And she was like, emotionally, psychologically, this just isn't like, I can't really do this anymore, and like I'm reflecting on my past content, and like it's because that was when like Shane Dawson was getting called out for like blackface again,
Yeah.
and she was like looking at her old content. She was like, I can't believe I did some of that stuff, and
Mhm.
maybe this is just the time for me to walk away from it all. And
Yeah.
and I guess, go out on a high note, but do you find anything, like, what is the hardest part, like emotionally or psychologically, like being in this social media world that you've been in the past couple of years?
Definitely like making making content online before was a hobby where I spent every day focusing on research, and then while I'm like doing research or like doing something where like I'm just alone with my thoughts, that's where like a lot of creative ideas come. And then after I'm done with my experiments, that's when I would like do and execute and make my videos. Whereas now the creative ideas are kind of like on demand. Like you have to make an idea now. Like you have to create the content now, and you have to kind of think on the spot. And when things are trending, like you just have to hop on that train and try to make something quick. Um, and so that's something that I'm kind of trying to adjust to, being creative on demand.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds a little bit counterintuitive in that like creative ideas are it come to me much easier when I'm busy than when I feel, I guess, like when I have more free time, I don't feel as creative. It's
Okay.
strange. And then another thing that I think some people can experience is like losing authenticity.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like sometimes that happens to me too, where I think, "Ooh, okay, what do the followers want?" And then I have to like think, no, 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 like I need to stay true to myself and make the content that makes me happy. And so I need to keep that in the back of my mind. I need to cater to my own interests and not cater to my followers' interests, and just really be myself. Um, I know like Jenna Marbles has been on the YouTube game for, I want to say, at least 10 years, right?
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And she's got the pattern down. Like she is YouTube material. Like she's a perfect content creator. And I think, I really hope that she didn't go away from YouTube. But I think like, experiencing burnout is, I feel like it's more common now because we are trying to, it's very tempting to like always please the followers. Please the followers. And well, actually, no, Jenna Marbles, she does a good job of like being true to herself and really like acknowledging a lot of her faults and like her past mistakes, hence why she like left YouTube.
Yeah. She's very
And
self-aware.
that's, yeah, self-aware, that's the word. And she's very good at that. And I think that's a quality that a lot of content creators need. And some of them, sometimes it could be good that they realize what they did is wrong and they need to take a break. And then sometimes I think, like with her, in my opinion, I don't think her past videos were that bad or controversial, right? Do you think
No,
so?
no, it was mainly like the older stuff, that because a lot of like, once people were pulling the Shane Dawson videos, they started pulling like a lot of old YouTubers' old videos. And
Yeah.
so, and nobody had like brought up Jenna Marbles, but she kind of brought it up herself. Like she was
Yeah.
like, well, they're kind of going after everybody else, and so and I think she had more or less apologized for some of that stuff, and a lot of that stuff was nowhere near as egregious as Shane Dawson's was.
Right.
And she just kind of like, I guess, felt a disturbance in her spirit about it, and she kind of like made a video one day, and she was like, she like showed all her old videos. She's like, this was not okay. All that stuff I did, I should never have done it. I don't know why I thought it was okay. And like, and people always like say like, oh, Shane Dawson changed a lot from like his old like shock jock humor content to now being like
Yeah.
woo soft boy of YouTube. And like,
Mhm.
but Jenna Marbles really had a big transition, like from like she would like make fun of celebrities and like do weird content like that, which that was popular then, like the skits and all that on
Yeah.
YouTube. And then she kind of just started making weird, nonsensical, like she painted herself to blend into her chair, like
Yeah, I remember those type of videos.
yeah,
Yeah.
doing content she wanted to do. So, and just her as a person, like I just have always felt a genuineness from Jenna Marbles that like never, which is why I was so surprised that she was like, I'm leaving YouTube, because like that is maybe the realest person on the internet
Yep.
that I
Yep.
that I feel like, and I still feel like that, like because she would like make apology videos about like she bought a fish, right? So she bought a fish, and she like made a whole video about it, and like she bought this fish tank and the whole process. And some people were like in her comments saying, you didn't buy the right fish tank for those fish, they're not going to be happy in that
Mhm.
environment, and like going at her. And she made like a 30-minute like apology, like, and it didn't feel like damage control. It felt genuine. It felt like she was
Mhm.
really upset about like, oh, I didn't do my research, or I didn't like
Yeah.
get a good
That
understanding of this.
that's the type of like creators that we need, because sometimes there are creators who post apology videos for just like damage control. Like they're more scared of the idea of being canceled than actually feeling sorry.
Yeah.
So I think because they're afraid of like their platform being stripped from them.
Hmm.
So I think that's why like a lot of apology videos are made to just like keep the audience happy
Yeah.
and not like actually feeling sorry, like genuine, like not feeling apologetic about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. And I, speaking of YouTube, so I watched some of your YouTube videos. I watched it because I also I listened to a good chunk, like 90% of the episode you did with ASAP Science, the podcast, their podcast.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And you were talking about how you wanted to get into YouTube stuff, and I watched some videos, and they're great, and you should keep doing it.
Thank
They're
you.
really good. They're really good. And the one you did about like asking your crushes like about your attractive quality. I said, I can't believe you did that.
I'm sure you recognize at least one person in that video.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, you have these people in here, number one. And I was like, and you're asking them these. I said, you're brave. You're braver than any of us. Like,
It was, I don't know, that video wasn't that bad to record because like I said, going to UT really allowed me to learn how to like love myself and just like be me. And so I already know like the way that I look, and nothing you can say about my physical appearance will hurt me.
mhm.
So that's why I didn't care about what they thought, because I'm like, it's your opinion.
Uh-huh.
My opinion. But that's that's what they thought. I didn't care because I know that I don't know, that I know I look like this, so I don't need anyone else's opinion on that. Uh, and so that's why I decided to make the video. I was like, this would be good content, and two, I'm not gonna lose anything out of it. I'm not
Oh,
gonna hurt myself. So
yeah.
it was fun. It was so fun coordinating all of these individual interviews. But like, oh my gosh, so you see like about probably like 15 seconds of each person, but each interview lasted for about 10 minutes.
Mhm.
So it was the initial video was much longer,
Okay.
but I think it was dragging on, so I
At
had to
least the Darrion cut. No.
but I had to delete a lot of the content, a lot of the video clips, just to make it like, I guess, more interesting and make
Uh-huh.
sure that the audience stays watching like the entire video just all throughout. That is the fun enough. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I love watching YouTube. That's what I like. That is my kind of decompressor.
Yeah.
Is just to watch, especially I really love long form content. Like
Mm,
I love like good hour long YouTube videos. I know like back in the day that was like a sin. It had to be 10 minutes or less. But like now I think long form content is getting really like big. Like it's hit the
Yeah.
algorithm, I guess. I don't know, but like one YouTuber I watched made like an hour long video on like the re-emergence of Twilight fans, like and I watched the whole video and I was like, I love content like this, like um so I'm glad you're getting on the YouTube too, because okay, so I want to tell you how I found out about lab shenanigans.
Okay, guys. So turns out I had 2.5 hours worth of footage of me and Darrion talking. And so I will upload the full podcast, but I'm going to do it in parts. So part one you're getting now, and part two you're going to get on Tuesday. So my upload schedules are going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you'll get to hear the rest of his story and his journey, and all the interesting things he has to say, because he said a lot of really, really great things. And I hope you're enjoying it so far. This podcast turned out to be the length of a Transformers movie, but unlike Michael Bay, I won't take up 2.5 hours of your time in one day. So I'll split it up for you, and I hope you like it or are liking it like I liked talking to him. It was very fun, and I will see you on Tuesday.